Anybody who is building a legitimate business from the ground up, you are a startup. Think about the business that you're building or the business that you're thinking about building. If it solves a small problem, chances are you won't make it too far. Money, health-related problem, mindset, and spirituality. These are three places that people have big problems.
I listen to great ideas all the time. Your ability to make this work is where the value is. True innovation isn't making easy lives easier, it's making impossible lives possible. We are so afraid of the what ifs, but the people who succeed are okay when those things happen. I just fix it.
We are innovating today. We are talking to the innovators. We are inspiring the innovators. Welcome to another episode of the Social Proof Podcast, where we are two entrepreneurs talking about all things entrepreneurship. My name is Donnie Wiggins. I am an entrepreneur and your favorite business coach. And I'm sitting here with
David Shands, entrepreneur, startup founder.
I'm a startup founder.
I don't know how to say it. I'm building a tech startup. I'm a founder. Because like as a traditional entrepreneur or whatever, you don't really consider yourself a founder or
I do.
A startup. Really?
I consider myself a founder.
Really? It doesn't seem that. It doesn't seem that way.
Yeah, for sure.
It seems like it has to be involved with tech to be a startup.
Absolutely not. Anybody who is building a legitimate business from the ground up, you are a startup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't called startups back then. It's just I'm building a business or entrepreneur.
Well, it was. We just weren't using the language. You've been introduced to it.
Let's see, when did the word startup become popular? It had to be in the tech space, though. Hey, chat, when did the word startup become a title for people that are building a business? I know words aren't new, but there's got to be, you ever seen the Google joint where it's like the Google Trends, where you can see the trend of a word or something like that? Mm-hmm. The phrase startup was first recorded in English in 1845. Modern business sense emerges, 1970. In its modern business meaning, specifically referred to building companies, the Oxford Dictionary traces the earliest usage to a Forbes article from August 15, 1976.
Yeah.
Popularized in the 1990s and 2000s, term gained popularity during the tech boom of the 1990s, exactly. Well, it became popular.
It's not exactly.
It's not a new word.
It's not a new word, and it's
popular.
Not only for tech businesses.
For sure.
If you have started a business, you've got your LLC, you've got your business plan, you're actually in business, then you founded a business, a company, and usually in your first 10 years, you're considered a startup. And there are other metrics and all the things. Well, that's because we built business outside of textbook standard, right? So if we went to business school and had actual business training and learned that terminology, we may have already integrated the word startup.
Okay.
Right? But the reason that it's so popular in tech is because you have all these Silicon Valley guys who are Hartford and Stanford and all the things graduates, and that's textbook language.
For sure.
We're street hustlers, baby.
100%. And now we got to turn the corner from street hustler. And it feels kind of odd for me right now because I am no longer doing the things that I would tell someone that's just getting started to do. You know what I mean? So if someone's going to start a podcast, number one recommendation is to create some sort of product, low ticket product, t-shirt, something that gives people an opportunity to support you so you can have that exchange. You can make your first few $1,000, $100,000 or whatever, but I'm moving away from that. So I don't think I hope people don't look at it as hypocritical. It's just I'm in a different stage of my life.
Why would it be hypocritical? You get to evolve.
Yeah, for sure.
Kids who were once interested in riding bikes are no longer interested in riding bikes. They want to drive cars.
100%.
Right? Your skill set as time goes on, as you grow, as you learn more, you evolve.
Yeah.
And you're in a space of evolution. I'm in a space of evolution. I literally was just in silence for most of the week last week. And my friends, Milan and Jaleesa specifically, were worried about me. And I'm like, there's no need to worry about me. I am just in this space of isolation because I'm a true Capricorn. When we are unclear about what our next steps are, or when we are on the verge of like a breakthrough and like we're on the verge of figuring it out. You ever been like in the process of figuring something out and you have something to do, like a meeting to go to or somewhere to be, but you're like, oh, I almost figured it out.
Yeah,
I can't leave until. Yeah. So that's where I was. That was my energy last week. I'm like, I've almost figured it out.
Yeah.
And I don't want to pick up the phone. I don't want to talk. I don't want to go to all the parties or, any of the events and all the things. There was so many things going on last week. I needed to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing. And we're just evolving, and that's what we're supposed to do. Yeah. Anybody who sees it as hypocritical just wants us to stay in a space that's convenient for them.
Yeah. And I believe to get to the space where we're at now, that stuff is necessary. It's like it's a process of like, if you haven't done business before, you may want to like get your chops of like learning business and making a sale. And maybe you're not super committed to this idea that you're doing right now, but just do it anyway, just to kind of feel the market and feel what it's like.
Yeah.
But just really, really excited. I want to ask you, you're saying last week you were trying to figure it out. You're saying you're close to figuring it out.
Yes.
Yeah, so what is that figuring? Can you go deeper on helping them understand what you're trying to figure out or where you're at?
So you guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen me on my stories, especially a lot, saying there has to be something bigger and more impactful, but not necessarily with me doing more, offering more, fulfilling more. And so I am just in my journey of figuring out what's next for me, what my next idea is. And what my next idea is also tech related. I didn't necessarily consider it being in tech, but it is heavily based upon a tech program. And I don't want to get into what my idea is. But one thing that I want to do, I want to touch on is I want to make sure that as we evolve, we don't speak negatively about what we used to do, sure. Right? And like, because it can be misconstrued. It's like, I no longer tell people that they don't need to go to college. Go do whatever you want to do. College wasn't necessary for me. My daughter, on the other hand, went to college. So I don't talk negatively about people who choose to go to college. I don't talk about people who want to work a job. I worked the job. My job was my very first investor into doing what I did. But at the same time, I desperately didn't want to work in corporate America. So my journey involves absolutely no corporate America. Figure it out. But that doesn't mean that if you are in corporate America right now, that you should feel like what you're doing is small. And the same thing with those of us, and I say us because I still operate a business in this space, who are digital creators, product creators, course creators, coaches, consultants, all the things. What you're doing, as long as you're operating with integrity, is still very much valid business. I don't want you to think that you have to rush your evolution because we are on our journey of evolution. I am more than 15 years into entrepreneurship. I am more than 11 years into high-level successful entrepreneurship. So this isn't I've done this for 6 months or a year and now I'm ready to do something else. Yeah. Even though there were peaks and valleys in my journey that looked like that sometimes, we maintain that we are the social proof and we're constantly taking you on our journey, so you can see what's possible, or maybe you can be inspired with some ideas to do something on your own. But don't for 1 second think that we're saying, well, what we're doing is bigger and better now because what we did was great.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not even that we're doing anything different. It's an evolution of what we're doing. Mm-hmm. So it's one stage where you can print out some T-shirts and sell T-shirts out of your house. Well, when you start thinking a little bit bigger, you're like, all right, well, what if I can get a location and one side of it is clothing, the other side of it is, I don't know, an event space, or it's a club, or if I'm promoting the club, these people at the club are driven to buy the clothes. It's a bigger way of thinking. Maybe we're out of that and we start figuring out, okay, what is a good way to connect people who have products with large crowds?
Yeah.
What is there an app that I can build? Is there a process or a system that I can build? So it's not like I'm like, oh, I just want to forget helping people. I'm just going to build this thing for me in my journey right now. It's how can I start to think like the people that are building $100 million company. This young lady said something so dope, and I DM'd her, and it was just really, really, I just had to show my appreciation. This young lady named Chica.
Oh, I love her page. Chica, it's a long name.
Chica, yeah.
I love her page.
So I saw actually 19 Keys, he posted it, and I reposted it today, and I just want to go through the slides. And this was another brain unlocking. And here's one thing I do know. Once you start getting on this path, the things you see that take your attention are like mind-blowing for you.
The Legos post.
Oh my gosh. She said, Legos showed me Silicon Valley, and let me just show her Instagram, Chica, CHIKAUWAZIE. I reposted it, and actually Dre came to me in the bathroom like, hey, I went to college with her. I was like,
did
small world.
she?
Yeah, she was like, and Dre was like, she's been brilliant.
I posted it this morning. I shared it yesterday, but yep. I said this entire post is heavy.
Oh, bruh. Logos showed me Silicon Valley. Legos. Well, it depends on your dialect.
Does it?
Yeah, no. Showed me Silicon Valley is building the wrong future, she says. I was on a Zoom while a Nigerian developer who built a payment app that worked offline. The kind of thing you don't realize is revolutionary until you're in Lagos. I said that right? Where internet cuts out daily. So he solves a problem where I could take your credit card because there was a problem. If the internet goes out, you can't make the sale. You got to come back. You lose that money, right? Next slide says, a Silicon Valley VC asked him, how much have you raised? She said, nothing. He replied, I built it with $200. The VC ended the call in 5 minutes, saying it's not scalable. Dang. That same week, I watched a Stanford kid raise $3 million for an app that reminds you to drink water. And she said, that's when it hit me. We're not building the wrong technology. We're building for the wrong problems. In Silicon Valley, I sat through pitch after pitch. AI for choosing restaurants. Apps for finding parking. Platforms for rating your neighbor's dog. Meanwhile, in Lagos, Nairobi, and Accra, developers were solving problems I never even considered. How do you bank without banks? How do you learn without schools? How do you pay without the internet? Their constraints weren't inconveniences, they were life or death. The water reminder app, it was dead in 6 months. Silicon Valley's problem isn't talent, it's perspective. This was the most key part. She said, we're optimizing comfort for people who already have everything while ignoring innovations that could change the world. So how do we build the right future? Fund different problems, value different metrics, hire different perspectives, design for extremes, redefine innovation. And she also says, true innovation isn't making easy lives easier, it's making impossible lives possible. And that's what builders across Africa are already doing without Silicon Valley's blessing, capital, or permission. Last slide. To every builder solving real problems with no resources, you're not behind, you're actually ahead. The future isn't waiting for Silicon Valley to notice, and neither should you.
This is so important. Powerful. And is so relevant no matter what you're doing, no matter what industry you're in. Like, if you want to build a really big business, you have to figure out how to solve really big problems. It's in tech, it's in coaching, it's in finance, it's in legal, it's in whatever you want it to be. How do you solve a really big problem? So right now, think about the business that you're building or the business that you're thinking about building. If it solves a small problem, chances are you won't make it too far. But if you are solving a really big problem, a really, really big problem, chances are you have the potential to make it really far. Well, what are big problems? Big problems are typically as it relates to someone's money, right? Like she said, how do you bank without banks? How do you take money without having Wi-Fi? We've all been there before. We've vended for so many years. You ever went somewhere and you're like, oh my God, we don't have Wi-Fi, so now we can only take cash? And now people aren't walking around with cash. Well, how do you solve problems where people can do online business offline? Your problems that you're solving are usually going to be related to somebody's money. It's going to relate to someone's health. How do you solve a real big health-related problem? And it's also going to be related to someone's mindset and spirituality. These are 3 places that people have big problems. They don't have enough money, or they have problems with their money. They don't have the best health, or have problems with their health, and their spirituality or their mindset is suffering, and this is where people are investing big dollars. So when you're thinking about starting your clothing brand, there's nothing wrong with starting a clothing brand, but most clothing brands don't solve big problems, right? What big problem is it that you want to solve? One thing that I saw that was easy about, or that was interesting about this, is that she said that we're optimizing comfort for people who already have everything, while ignoring innovations that can change the world.
Yep.
Well, in our space, we're told to solve rich people's problems. Like, if you want to create a high ticket offer, figure out how to sell rich people's problems. And this perspective makes you really think, do I want to only be an entrepreneur that makes a lot of money, or do I want to create real change?
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I feel like over my journey of the last 15 years, I've created real change in my way, right? Because, and you too, because I've helped, I know that I've helped. I've got hundreds upon hundreds of testimonials of people who have started businesses under my advice or my leadership or my coaching. I've seen people go from extreme poverty to multi-millions. And to me, that's changing the world, because I'm changing someone's life in real time and what you're able to now do with those things. But a lot of you are just in it for the money. A lot of you are focused on such minuscule problems that you'll never get to the level that you really want. And I don't know that you can get to a $100 million business without solving a massive problem. I'm trying to think of one. Trying to think of one. There are some.
Yeah, for sure. And here's what the way I look at it is, one, we just have to figure out a problem that we can solve. And I don't know that it has to be a huge problem, but it has to be a problem that everyone deals with. For instance, there was a time where people would cook, and after they're done cooking, they'll put the food in their refrigerator and eat it tomorrow. But the problem was, when you get it out of the refrigerator, it just looks crazy. So someone said, yo, why don't we just make some saran wrap? Or let's put it in a little pouch so it stays fresh. It's a problem, right?
That's a big problem.
Here's another problem. And big is relative to the person, right?
Well,
so here's a problem, which I thought was just fire. I meet somebody, I'm single, I meet somebody in the streets. You seem nice, but you have lived in Atlanta for the last 10 years. There are reviews for Amazon products, but there's no review that I can go look and see the 4 or 5 stars. Someone creates a T app. Problem. Whoa, can I put this man in here?
Oh my gosh.
Who been there? Who been here? That is, I mean, it's fun, but it's in my mind, that is one of the most innovative things I saw. It's like, okay, there's reviews for everything but this person.
So I think those are big problems. I think those are both big problems. And when I think of big problems, I'm not just talking about big in scale of we're creating some really unique or solving some really deep life-threatening problem necessarily. Big could also mean how many people have this same problem.
100%.
Can you solve for it?
Yeah.
And with the T app, I've never been on it, actually.
Me neither.
You haven't been on it? I haven't been on it.
It's going viral, though.
I did hear about it going viral, but I would imagine that there are plenty of people who are suffering from trusting their significant other. 100%. Let's create this app. There was but this isn't a first. There was a platform called Lipstick Alley that was the thing back in the day. Lipstick Alley, boy, was just a website. And I don't know if they have an app or how they've evolved today, but back in the day, Lipstick Alley was the site that you go and put your boyfriend's name in, and you could search for it and see what people are saying about him. I saw him here. I saw him there. Blah, 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 blah. We're on Lipstick Alley.
I'm I'm on what?
Me and you are on Lipstick
I'm
Alley.
not on Lipstick
Yes,
Alley.
we are.
No,
And
I'm
it's not in that way. It's not about who we're dating or our personal life. It's like, yo, what do y'all know about them in business?
I wonder what my reviews are. How many stars I got?
There were good things. There were both. You know, people are always going to have something great to say about us and always going to have something negative to say. But for the most part, there were people who were saying really great things.
It's still on. It's still up. Lipstick
you
Alley?
should be able to go like Lipstick Alley, David Shands.
Oh,
I would imagine that this stuff never goes away. You see it?
No, I don't see it. Hold on. You said Lipstick Alley /
No, just like here it is right here.
reviews.
Yeah, we got all kind of stuff. I just did your name. You know, it's just like a Google search. Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
We up in there.
I see 2022, but it seems like
it's old stuff.
It's one person put a bunch of stuff.
Well, because is it one I don't know, but I know that one day I was Googling myself just to see what comes up, and the Lipstick Alley comes up. I checked it to see if you were on it, and I'm like, good stuff and bad stuff, right? Yeah. Okay. Somebody says the very first thing that pops up is, can we drag these new financial gurus? Not saying they're scammers, but any info on Social Proof Podcast with David Shands and Donnie Wiggins.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
It's just stuff like that. And then when you open it up, there will be people who are saying, yeah, I've been following them, or I've worked with them. They're great. There's other people who, you know, come from wherever they come from that are like, nope, they don't know what they're talking about. But this was a problem, and you can probably search all of the entrepreneurs that are in our space today. Mm-hmm. The same thing if you go like to Reddit and you do Reddit space Alex Hermosi, you're going to find all of his haters that are coming out on Reddit. I found them. I went through it. I couldn't understand it. But one of the things that did for me was said, hey, when you are on a trajectory of doing something great, people are going to talk. Here's a problem, and they're solving it. It gives haters an opportunity, platforms for haters to have an opportunity to talk, people who have real curiosity to have an opportunity to do search engines. Yeah. Reddit, Lipstick Alley, all these type of platforms, they serve as search engines for people who want really dialed in information. But you're overlooking this stuff. We're participating in all of it.
Yeah.
But overlooking the fact that we can create it.
100%. I understand you feel stuck in your business, and I know why. It's one of these 4 things are off. Either you don't have a coach, you don't know how to create content, you don't have a strong cash flow model, or you don't have a community. And this is exactly why I created the Morning Meetup. Listen, y'all been watching this podcast for years now. For $97 a month, I've been coaching entrepreneurs every single week, but right now I have a different goal to invite 10,000 members in. So for a very limited time, this community is only $19 a month. You will get me live every single Monday, and I'm answering your questions every single Tuesday. We got community day every Friday. So you need a coach, somebody that understands business. You need to understand how to create content. We teach that every single week. You also need a strong cash flow model. That's what this entrepreneurship thing is about. And number 4, you have to have a community. I want to connect you with other entrepreneurs that are in your backyard from around the country. All right, so click the link below or themorningmeetup.com. $19 a month and you're locked in. Let's go. So I think the first step everyone needs to do today, let's just think of a problem. Just write down a bunch of problems that are going on in your life. For the thing that I'm building, it is a real problem for 3 groups of people. And we're actively building to solve it. Well, it's 2 groups of people. And then the third one, it was night before last. I reached out to my man, Justin, who's developing this site. And I said, yo, I figured out another really, really big problem. So we started talking about it. It's like, oh, yes. He's like, yo, that will 1,000x the valuation of this company. Got it. Because we're not thinking about, okay, let me just build something. We're thinking about a problem that we can solve. When we decide to, all right, let me create this community. Let me create this t-shirt brand. Let me create this product. A lot of times we're thinking about, or let me create this YouTube channel. We're thinking about what we would want to do that would be a cool idea versus what's the problem that we solve. Here's the second part to this. I had a chance to talk to Dean Forbes. Dean Forbes, I believe he's out of Canada, and he'll be on the podcast really soon. Billionaire. Builds businesses, exits them. He was at InvestFest. I met him. And I start telling him, because he's built and sold some companies. So I start telling him my idea. And he said, yo, that is a really dope idea. He said, this is what I want you to think, though. He said, good ideas don't have much value. He said, it's going to be your ability to build it. So if there's a marketplace, let's say there's a dating app, and you got this really cool dating app, and it does all these cool things, and it solves a big problem. If you can't get 100,000 men and 100,000 women on this app, the idea is useless. Your ability to make this work is where the value is. He said, I listen to great ideas all the time, but what do you have? What are you going to be able to do to make this idea a reality? That's where the value is. So we got to work on ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's the pitfall that many aspiring entrepreneurs fall into, which is why they remain aspiring and never really get into it, because you've got all these ideas, but you work through the what, but you never work through the how, right? And so when you're looking at your own business model, the very first thing that I want you to ask yourself is, number one, what is the idea? That's number one. What is the idea? Number two, what problem does my idea solve? What problem does my idea solve? Number three, is this a large problem or a small problem?
I'll reverse those if I was putting the list together.
But I'm putting it together.
I know, but I just wanted to, for good conversation.
You know what I mean?
I'll give you my perspective. Okay, what are the three? What are the three?
Wait, now you threw me off.
I'm sorry.
I just want to roll over here.
Okay, go for it.
I want to roll. I think it's number one was number one, what is my idea?
What's the idea?
Number two is, what problem does my idea solve? Number three, if I could measure the problem that I solve, do I solve a big problem or do I solve a small problem, right? Those are going to be the very first things. Now, if you identify, and then it's based on what? It can't be based on what you think you solve. You got to actually do some research. Go to Google. How many people suffer from this problem? Go to ChatGPT. How many people suffer from this problem? Go to ChatGPT and say, hey, tell me how many people search for solutions for this problem on Google and on YouTube. These are great places for you to start, right? And then if you figure out that you solve a big problem, now the question is, how do I get this built out and placed into the marketplace? If you serve a small problem, you then have to ask yourself, there are decisions to make, because there's room for people who solve small problems. You don't have to go away. But what you do probably have to do is accept the fact that your business may be like a mom and pop. You might only make it so far. There might be a ceiling, and I'm sure there are small businesses that have gone the distance, and they've, what's the ring, the little flip it thing that we used to put on our fingers, the fidget spinners. I'm sure. I mean, I don't think that was a big problem, but that company made a massive amount of money. And if you are a small problem solver, then you have to really think about, well, how do I market this, and how do I get it into a bunch of people's hands? How do I draw an emotional or some type of connection to it to make it go? But for those of us who are on our journey to solve really big problems, the first thing that you have to do is admit that right now you're probably not. And we got to go back to the plan, and we have to refine it and not solve the problem that we think people need solved, but actually do the research to find out, what is the big problem in my industry? Start there. You're in the finance industry. ChatGPT, give me the top 5 problems that people deal with as it relates to their finances. ChatGPT, what have been the top problems in the fitness industry? Give me the top 5 issues that people deal with in the fitness industry. ChatGPT, what have been the 5 problems that people deal with that tech can solve, right? Let's start doing research and asking these questions, and then you reverse engineer from there.
I love it. So what I was saying is, I would, instead of starting out with what is the idea, I would start out with your number 2 of
what's the problem?
Is the problem. Because, and the only reason I say that is because if we have an idea, I think we'll be biased in answering the other questions. It's like, all right, this is my idea. I can come up with a problem to solve. And in my head, this lipstick I'm about to make solves a big problem, of course. But if we're not biased in our thinking of even industry specific, what is a problem that exists, something that I'm frustrated about, something that you're frustrated about. And then you can ask yourself, okay, do I have an idea? Is there something that I want to build?
Yeah. I
But
think both ways work, right?
yeah, for sure.
And so I think both ways work. For an innovative mind, I like the idea of starting off with the problem.
Yeah.
But for people who might not be extremely innovative right now, but you got a whole laundry list of ideas, let's start thinking about those ideas. Like, okay, I've got these ideas. What can I do with these ideas that I have right now? But there's somebody who's watching this right now whose perspective has been shifted, and you're like, I don't want an apparel brand anymore. I don't want to sell the hair extensions anymore. You know what I want to do? I want to solve a big problem. Then you start with the big problem. You're in an innovative mindset. So I don't think there's one wrong way to do it. Yeah. The bottom line is do it. Whether you're starting with the idea or the problem, let's think bigger. How do we compete with other people who are just operating on a different level? And I'm not going to make it about race. I'm not going to say, well, how do we compete with white people? Because there are black billionaires who are dominating the billionaire list. Go and look at what problems they solved. How did they do it? Were they just investing? Were they solving a cash flow problem? That's a big problem. People have big cash flow problems. Did they actually innovate and ideate something? Let's start looking at what people have done already to solve big problems. And I read a long time ago that most problems are repeat problems. They're happening over and over and over again. Health problems will never go away. Money problems will never go away. Spirituality problems will never go away. They'll just never go away. The trick is, or the key is, to figure out how you can take something that's already working and make it better. Can you zone in on a problem? There's already a solution for it, but it's still missing something. Yeah. You're still frustrated about it, right? Just like the people in Lagos, we got a bank without banks. Yeah. We've got to be able to collect money without Wi-Fi, no matter where we are. Can you take something and go another step? We've all looked at something that said, man, if they just did this, then do it.
Yeah, for sure. What I've been noticing with entrepreneurs is that we are extremely biased to what we want to do, which I think is cool if you have if it's going to be a hobby or just something that makes you feel good. But in business, some of like the idea list that people have is coming from a frame of things that I want to do, and we start fitting our old way of thinking. So I had a bunch of things that I wanted to do, but when I put those together, it was coming from a different lens. It's like, yo, these are things that I think I can do versus this. I believe our brains are so powerful that once we identify any problem, our brains can switch to how to fix it. We can. Mm-hmm. I have this in a dress shirt. I don't always want to wear an undershirt, but you have to because you'll get sweaty armpits. Mm-hmm. Somebody was probably just thinking about that, like, bro, what can I put here so that I don't get my armpit sweaty?
Now you got the pit guards.
Oh, come on.
Pit guards?
Somebody thought about that. I want y'all to do just an exercise if you can. Outside of the current industry you're in, outside of your experience, outside of the framing, just forget. If you are an entrepreneur, if you're in finance, I don't want you to think finance for right now, for this exercise. I want you to make a list of 20 problems that haven't been solved yet. Mm-hmm. Here's one in podcasting. It's unregulated. You can put up an hour of a podcast on Spotify. They will not pay you a dime. You put up a 5-minute song, everybody involved has to get paid. That's a problem. It's not regulated yet. It's going to happen one day, but it's just not. I think we can think bigger than where we are. We can you think, all right, so shouts out to my man Tony. One of my mentors, Tony Abraham, shout out to him. He said that when I was telling him the idea, the thing I'm building, he said, I need you to do a TAM, SAM, and SOM.
Okay, let's talk about it.
TAM is identifying the total addressable market. Mm-hmm. How big of a market is this thing? Mm-hmm. Like, what is the total amount of people that that would be interested in this thing? So the TAM is thinking of this as the biggest possible pie. It's the total demand for your product or service if you could sell to everyone in the world who could possibly use it.
How many
And I think we got that one. I think we understand. So when we throw out podcasting as a $1 billion industry or fashion is a multi-billion dollar, whatever. So that's the total addressable market. Why? Because everyone wears clothes.
Okay.
But then you got to go to the SAM, which is the serviceable addressable market. This is narrowing it down to the audience of people that you can serve. Yes, podcasting is a $1 billion industry, so we can get in podcasting. But I can't service everyone in podcasting.
Who can you serve? How many? Who can you reach?
How many can I reach?
Okay.
What's your idea? What is the total serviceable market? So
What's that stand for again, Sam?
SAM, S-A-M, serviceable addressable market. First was TAM, total addressable market.
Okay.
Second is serviceable addressable market.
I love it.
It's still big, but not the entire world. Just the segment that realistically applies to you. The last one is SOM, S-O-M. The serviceable, attainable market.
Serviceable, obtainable
market.
Okay, so how is that different from addressable market?
Because this is the realistic slice that you can capture, especially in the short to medium term.
So the SAM wasn't about what I can capture.
So TAM was...
Sam.
Well, I'm just going to go from the top.
Okay.
TAM, total addressable market. Everybody that wears clothes, fashion industry, people that are buying. SAM, serviceable addressable market. Well, the serviceable might be the amount of people that wear the type of clothes that you're going to make.
Okay.
Not everybody wears
urban
gowns and whatever it is, right? Serviceable, obtainable market is out of that large pie. How many people do you think you can reach?
So out of SAM, out of the people who would wear my clothing, my Urban Luxe brand,
Correct.
How many do I have the potential to reach? Through my marketing efforts, through how much my money allows me to target them and all of those things. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the SOM.
SOM.
My ability to obtain that. So we can't just look at the high level number because, okay, there are gowns, but are you making gowns that people in Asia wear? Korean weddings? That might not even be... Yes, it's an audience of people that's getting married, that's going to wear gowns, but you may not even understand that type, their style, whatever. But now we're looking at the amount of people that I know I can capture.
That's so powerful because it breaks down what we try to tell people all the time when they say, well, what if the market is oversaturated? Yeah. And my response is usually very non-MBA-ish, right? I saw somebody in the comments saying they're learning this right now in MBA school. And this is what I mean when we were talking earlier about startup and when that language came about. These are terms that are textbook terms, right? But this SOM, when someone says, well, is my industry oversaturated? I say, well, it just can't be because not everybody can reach this audience. And if you just go into any like big box retailer, like a Target or a Walmart, I don't know, wherever you're going, right? When you go in there and you look at the shelves, there are shelves upon shelves upon shelves upon just all these products. SOM says the reason that the market won't be oversaturated is because you only have the ability to capture a very small percentage of it. You could never reach the entire available market, which is why you got to get out of your head right now. Hopefully this was a breakthrough that just freed somebody. Get out of your head. You're sitting on an idea right now that potentially solves a really good problem. Maybe not big, maybe not small, but a good problem. But you're saying so many other people are doing it. You can't reach my audience. You can't reach David's audience. You can't reach the total accessible audience. You can only reach what's obtainable to you.
And there was a quick analogy that was broken down. TAM is everyone in the world who eats pizza. SAM, everyone in your city who eats pizza if you're opening up a pizza shop. SOM is the number of people in your city who will actually buy your pizza. And this kind of helps us soberly think of the thing that we're building. who would actually buy this from me? And it doesn't have to be you, your personality, things of that nature, but the amount the amount of people that you think that you can reach, or the actual style of, let's say, for instance, we got Christian Mingle, right?
That sounds so
Everyone in the
familiar.
world wants somebody, I suppose.
Oh, the old dating app.
Yeah,
The
y'all
Christian,
remember
is that
that?
still a thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
You, first of all, you're not talking to the right audience. Christian Mingle. You got to explain what that is.
Y'all know what Christian Mingle is?
Y'all know what I had to think
bro.
about it. I'm like, that sounds so
you
familiar.
Ain't never get on Christian Mingle?
Never. I wasn't on dating apps during that season. But Bumble and Tinder, and there's one that starts with an H. What's that? Hinge.
Hinge.
Yeah, all those.
And there are some people that would never get on that app. Like, there's just an audience of people, and maybe we don't know who they are, but there's a section of the world that just would never, ever get on that app. So we can't include them in our analysis of this problem that we're solving.
Yeah.
So my point is, we can think bigger than we're thinking right now. And
Yes.
y'all, listen, I'm not mad at y'all if you wrote a book and your goal is to sell them books and get on stage speaking, things of that nature, and don't got to be AI or tech, or you can make an incredible living doing exactly what you're going to do. But for some people here, we can go to another level. What is that impossible thing? What is, like, if you could just like have a magic wand and this is what you're going to be doing. It may sound crazy. I know. Elon had to be going to these meetings like, yo, we're gonna build a car that drives itself.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean? At some point, this whole Uber, I saw it for the first time. A driverless Uber, I saw it.
Are you just seeing that?
I just saw it the other day.
Yeah, we were
was
walking.
crazy.
Me, my friend Naja, and Maya Elias were walking the day before yesterday. I think it was that walk because we walk all the time. And we're walking through a neighborhood, and there's this little cart. And I'm turned looking at Maya, and Naja is behind us, and she's like, "Why is that trash can moving?" And we're in a neighborhood, and it's like highly populated with trees, and I'm like, where? What trash can? Because I'm thinking there's like raccoons or some kind of animal around it. She's like, that thing, why is it moving? And I'm like, oh no, that's the new food delivery robots that are in your neighborhood, and it has its name. And this robot's name was like something like Shantavia. Hi, I'm Shantavia. And are y'all zip code trolling right now? Like,
there's no Shantavia in Roswell.
Because there's no in there. I don't know. I don't know any Shantavia, but it was the robot, and they're so friendly. They'll move around you when you're walking. Like when we were walking on the sidewalk, they were sharing the sidewalk with us. It pulled over to the side to let us walk around. It says that I am on a food delivery and all the things. Somebody thought about solving a big problem. Food delivery, going door to door in this day and age, it just isn't safe. Yeah. It's not safe to go knock on somebody's door. But also, how can we save labor costs by sending robots out there, right? People are thinking big, and you've got an idea. How can you take the idea that you have and then up level it? Yeah. Like, no, seriously, do some work. Let ChatGPT help you. Get on the phone with your mentor. Get on the phone with your coach and say, hey, this idea right now that I have, how can we up level it? Yeah. Let's take it up a notch. Let's kick it up a notch. And that's the season that David and I are in real time. Yeah. 1,000% grateful.
I wanted to share this too as we wrap up. One of the reasons people don't go big is because it's scary, and our brain thinks of all the reasons why it's not going to work. I'm going to create this robot that's going to deliver the food. Well, what happens if someone robs the robot? What happens if the robot dies in the middle of the street? What happens? What happens if this? What happens if that? There's somebody, when they started proposing this idea that we're going to have driverless cars picking up passengers, you can imagine all of the what ifs. So because we can't get around the what ifs in our thought, we just say, oh no, it's going to be too dangerous. My wife said something like, yo, I want to, and I'm guilty of it. My wife says, man, one day I want to have a daycare. My brain, the alarm goes off. Oh my gosh, too much liability.
Oh, the first thing I thought.
What if one of the kids get hurt? What if one of the kids get sick? What happens? What happens? Then we're responsible. We are so afraid of the what ifs. but the people who succeed are okay when those things happen. They'll just fix it.
And there's liability insurance.
But it's so...
Somebody put liability insurance in place because it solves a big problem.
Right.
Companies
can't think past the problem.
Can't think past the problem. Yeah. What is your liability insurance that says, you know what? It will be okay. It's going to work out. And if a problem arises, I will solve it. Whether it's a big liability or a small one, there is always going to be liability in business. There's liability every single time you walk out of your door. Every single time you get out of your bed, there is potential liability. But you make it to the bathroom in the kitchen and you do what you do anyway. Every single time you eat a raw oyster, there's liability.
Oh, God.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would have never thought of a theme park.
Liability.
Bruh, like the first person that came up with that, yo, people are going to fall off of this thing. What happens if it malfunctions? What happens if people die?
Something as simple as owning a dog.
Yeah.
There's potential liability. You guys, we got to get out of our heads about the risks. And we also have to be the type of supporter to our friends and our family and our loved ones that doesn't present every single liability that's possible when somebody is bringing you their big idea that solves a big problem.
Yeah.
Let's start supporting these big ideas and championing behind them and saying, you know what, that solves a really big problem. Let's look at the whole picture and put solutions in place for how we can make that happen.
Boom.
Be innovative. Let's get it, y'all. This has been another episode of the Social Proof Podcast. We are innovating today. Yeah. We are talking to the innovators. We are inspiring the innovators. Innovators, get out there and innovate. We're going to see you next week.
Peace.